Good morning, my friends. I got dogs here that I'm checking that fight. People say to me, "Well, why didn't you give one away?" My kids fought. I didn't give one away. These are my babies. This is my child. These are my children. Yeah. Okay. I'm Maria. You knew it was gonna end up like this, the podcast. Eh? I'm Maria Mariano. Over 40 years in business. Mother of three. I have three puppies. They're always my puppies. Four cats, kittens. Here's my friends. I got five more dogs here. Okay, it's irrelevant, right? It's a podcast. We're getting there. Martin Noel, good morning. Did you go see my reel? Did you see my reel, Marie-Pierre, that I did with the butter?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice, guys. Okay. Uh, the podcast, the Millionaire of the Diamonds. This is all about leveling up. It's all about being in control of your emotion, deepening your faith. It's all about working from the inside out. Who is it that I have to become to achieve my next level? So, literally, this podcast was put together by my thoughts. It was years I was saying, I need to be more intentional with my personal growth. I need to be more intentional with my personal growth. But we all know that if we are not accountable and if we're not surrounded by the right people, I can be as disciplined as you want, but I will just drop the ball. And that's how the podcast started. We did it over a year, I believe, and Marie-Pierre, just practicing
Mhm.
and finding the right team. And the team has changed since we started. And it's evolving. It's evolving. But this team you have right now are the authors together of all the books we've put together. And if you go on Amazon, I think we haven't talked about the link for a long time. It really actualizes in practical form everything an entrepreneur needs to do to achieve success. So there's the books we're reading, but to read the books we put together, the five authors together, is the roadmap to get there. Simplified. I always say simplification is the key. And in today's episode, it's going to be so powerful. I will begin with opening your heart to the word have faith, that you need to understand what exactly this means, and that all riches, financial freedom, anything you want in life begins with faith, followed by Melanie Miller, where she is going to help you to bring the proof. So your dominating thoughts will be those that will attract the right things to you. And Marie-Pierre is going to challenge you. Okay. She's going to challenge you who you are and who you want to become. But before we go any further, I'm going to leave you in the hands of Marie-Pierre. Today I find out the top 10, right?
Yeah, we are
Finally,
Thursday.
I stopped asking.
Okay, so this morning, first thing to do is to make sure that you go and you share. So click on the arrow so you can share on every social media platform. And of course, you have the text in the comment that you can copy paste when you share so people understand why they should listen to the podcast. But we'll see that when you click on the arrow, you can send it by messenger or text message. So if you have someone in mind during the podcast that really needs to hear this message, make sure that you send it by messenger or text message so they will click and listen to the podcast this morning. Then we have our contest, Les Millionnaires de Diamants. So first, when you go on our Facebook group, Les Millionnaires de Diamants Inspirational Group, every time you post, every time you comment, every time you react, you gain point during the month to be in the top 10 contributor. And at the end of the month, the official top 10, get a voucher to go shop on the boutique Les Millionnaires de Diamants. And our top 10 month to date, we have number 10, Caroline Dorovich, number 9, Agnès Joseph, number 8, Sammy, number 7, Melanie
Sammy
Coco.
who?
We don't know.
Oh,
It's
no.
Sammy.
Oh, yeah.
Number 7, it's Melanie Cocolas. Number 6 is Nathalie Brochu. Number 5 is Sherry Novak. Number 4, Lise Boucher. Number 3, Kendra Fingasol. Number 2, Louise Gauthier. And number 1, Martin Noel. So congratulations to our top 10 month to date. You still have at the end of the month to be in the official top 10.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So we're done, eh?
No, I was just,
Okay.
my
Well,
brain stopped. Okay, we continue.
tomorrow morning. We'll continue tomorrow morning.
Oh, that's good.
I just wanted to know the top 10. Me, at the end of the day, I want to know the top 10. And Jacqueline, who you'll never see in the top 10 because she's the administrator of the group. So, Jacqueline, the newbies, go send them a message, like thanking them for the contribution to the group. I mean, it's extraordinary that there's people that are in the top 10 and I don't even know who they are. We have this morning, of course, Jacqueline. Olga's here. Good morning. Lise is here. I have Lisa that I talked with last night with Sherry Novak. I love it. Louise Gauthier, the crew. James sent me a message at 12:30 a.m. He was still recruiting Monique, okay, because they extended the offer of the recruiting offer. And James, you know what? Double up, okay? Double up. James, I'm going to tell you something. Marie-Pierre, write it down, okay? The rectors, it was 50, and they came to the supper. Okay, so if they double up until the end of the month, they can bring their spouse. C'est bon? And so
They already qualified with their spouse.
oh, oh.
Okay, we're not in a Tupperware meeting.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, let me dive in. James, that's your fault. Okay. So faith is a state of mind. So let me ask you something right away. Have you ever noticed when you believe something is going to work, it usually does. And when you believe that it's not going to work, it doesn't. I even can tell you, I felt the accident before it happened. Things like, I don't know, today I'm going to get an accident. I mean, it doesn't come out of my mouth that way, but in my mind, in my soul, I got this feeling I'm going to get an accident. And then you have the accident and you say, aha, I knew it. I felt it. Okay, that's not luck. That's not coincidence. That is called faith. And Napoleon Hill says something revolutionary. He says, faith is not a gift. And it's very important you hear this. Faith is not random. Faith is not reserved for the religious people. So I need you right now to remove religion. Otherwise, it's going to stop you from listening to the rest of it. Okay. Faith is simply a state of mind, and it can be created on purpose through repetition, through auto suggestion. This is why we recommend the agenda, the Millionaire of the Diamonds, because everything I'm telling you right now is in that agenda. So every day you're going to auto suggest positive things to yourself. Every day you're going to have affirmation, or rather every week. I always say I don't have to do everything every day, but I do have to do everything every week. Okay. What do I tell myself over and over? It helps me actually see that, because sometimes we do it unconsciously. I'm so stupid. Again, you messed up. You always mess up. Like, becoming aware that this is what's going on in my mind. And he literally says, read it a second time, read it 5 times a day, so that today you will act in accordance of attracting real things to you, the good things to you. So simply put, here are the 6 things you need to write down and repeat 5, 6, 7, 10 times a day. Number 1, faith is the starting point of all riches. Okay. Anybody who wants to be financially rich, they must have faith. No faith, no riches. And I remember when my father left his auto mechanic shop to join my mother, he did it in faith. And faith said to him, Michelangelo, you will make more money than ever. And that's exactly what happened. Number 2, faith is the basis of all miracles. Now, when Mohammed got his bone marrow transplant, the chances that he survived, because he was in a gray zone, were very, very little. But like Dr. Roy said to Mohammed, between my magical hands and your faith, nothing to do with religion, made the magic happen. Number 3, faith is the only known antidote to failure. Failure is not lack of skills. Failure is not lack of intelligence. Failure is lack of faith. So write that down. 4, faith is the chemical that gives power to your thoughts. Now, that's very powerful. Why? Because I want to succeed versus I am building something great. You see the difference? Okay. I want more money versus I'm becoming richer every day. I want a better life versus I am living my best life. That's what it's all about. Number 4, Faith is the chemical that gives power to your thoughts. Now, 5, faith transforms ordinary thoughts into spiritual, powerful thoughts. You've seen these two people do the same action. One succeeds, one fails. In our Tupperware business, we see all the time. What is the difference between the two? And we always talk about the classic example of Melanie and Annie. Well, one believed deeply, the other hoped it would work. That's the big difference. Number 6, faith is the only agency through which infinite intelligence, like all the energy of the stratosphere, work through you and not against you. And this is where my friend Melanie Miller is going to come in, because what she needs to explain is exactly the process to achieve wealth by staying in the I deserve it. This is for me. I was meant for this. I was born for this. So there's songs out there. You can actually create your own music list with all the ones of I was born this way. There's so many. I'm a survivor. I'm not good with songs, but you know what I mean. So you can get through the day extra traction in attracting to you the good stuff, right? So through telling yourself things like, I am great, I will achieve this, that's exactly what's going to happen. So here's Melanie. Here is Melanie now to tell you how to get it done exactly.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Maria, for that amazing introduction. What Maria just did was awaken belief. My role now is to show you that what we just discussed is not mystical language, it is not wishful thinking, it is not poetic exaggeration, it is demonstrable. Napoleon Hill writes, every one of the foregoing statements is capable of proof. Let's unpack that. Faith is not blind optimism. Faith is not denial of difficulty. Faith is a conditioned state of mind, and a conditioned state of mind can be studied, observed, and replicated. Hill tells us that faith may be induced by autosuggestion. In modern psychological language, we call this cognitive conditioning and neural reinforcement. What does that mean in practical terms? It means that the thoughts you repeatedly impress upon your mind become dominant, and what becomes dominant directs your behavior. So let me give you an example. If a person repeats internally, I'm terrible with money, what happens? They begin to notice evidence that confirms that belief. They hesitate when investing. They avoid financial conversations. They make small decisions from a position of scarcity. Eventually, their external results match the internal narrative. Now reverse it. If someone repeatedly affirms, I'm capable of building wealth, I learn quickly, I execute consistently, their perception changes, their posture changes, their willingness to take calculated risk changes. Behavior shifts, results follow, that is proof. Hill also says, thoughts which are mixed with emotion constitute a magnetic force. This is not metaphorical language. Emotion increases neurological imprinting. When a thought is emotionally charged, whether with fear or conviction, it imprints deeper pathways in the brain. I have a friend who told me that she couldn't help it that she was late all the time. So guess what? She was always late. When she discovered later in life how much being late to school every day had traumatized one of her children, she decided to start taking responsibility for her tardiness and actually arrive on time to places. And guess what? Now she was always at least 2 minutes early. In this last 11 days, there are several examples that I can give you of both positive and negative responses to neural conditioning. We've just had a big drive for personal recruiting in our business. Every single person had the same offer. How they developed their personal thinking and actions around that offer were changeable. Consider subject one. Never before had they recruited more than 5 recruits. They believed that with this offer, they could achieve 40 recruits in the 11 days. They wrote down the goal. It was visible to them. Whenever they looked up, there was the goal, and the 11 days started. Did they suddenly become a super duper recruiter, never seen before in the history of MLMs? Of course not. But they conditioned themselves to have faith in the process, to have faith in the goal, to have faith in their ability to achieve it. They had auto-suggestion of their goal wherever they looked, whether it was the original goal or the tracking that let them know how much they were closer to it, or the constant questions from other people about how they were achieving it. This is how auto-suggestion works, and many studies have shown that when people write their goals, they have a much higher likelihood of achieving them. And making them visible works even better. They are constantly confronted with auto-suggestion, and the more success comes, the more they achieve. I saw this process work for several people over the course of the last 11 days. I saw many of them recruit more than they'd ever done before, and it feels magical. I've seen the converse too. People who decide before, as soon as the 11 days start, that they're not good at recruiting. So guess what? They don't recruit. And they comment that they are trying, which really means I give myself permission to fail. These people do not have a big 10 written on their fridge to achieve their 10 recruits because they do not believe that they can. They have a different emotional state. The outcomes of these two different groups of people diverge dramatically. Why? Because dominant thoughts guide attention. Attention guides action. Action compounds into results. This is observable. Now let's talk about environment. Maria mentioned faith being the antidote to failure. Science shows that environment reinforces dominant thought patterns. If you place a disciplined individual in a chaotic environment long enough, their standards begin to erode. If you place a struggling individual into a structured, excellent driven environment long enough, their performance elevates. Why? Because the human mind is constantly harmonizing with what dominates its surroundings. Hill writes that the mind attracts vibrations that harmonize with what dominates it. Modern neuroscience calls this confirmation bias and selective attention. You do not see the world as it is. You see the world as you're conditioned to see it. If your mind is dominated by faith, you notice opportunity. You start to take actions in areas and things that perhaps you hadn't done before. Your mind is on high alert to succeed. If your mind is dominated by fear, you notice threat. And often fear will paralyze your actions, so you end up proving to yourself that you could not do what you wanted to do. Both act simultaneously. You select which one expands. Another example. Why do elite athletes rehearse victory mentally before competition? Because visualization activates similar neural circuits as physical practice. The subconscious mind cannot clearly distinguish between vividly imagined experience and repeated reality. So when Hill says repetition of thought influences the subconscious, he is describing the mechanism now validated by performance psychology. Faith is not superstition. Faith is disciplined mental dominance. Let's go further. Hill states that if a man repeats a lie long enough, he will eventually accept it as a truth. This is not exaggeration. Propaganda works because repetition reshapes belief. Self-doubt works the same way, but so does self-confidence. If you repeatedly declare a definite purpose backed with emotion and persistence, you alter identity, and identity governs action. You do not outperform your self-image for long. So when Hill says faith is the starting point of all riches, he's not being poetic, he's being structural. Faith stabilizes identity. Identity directs behavior. Behavior accumulates wealth. And finally, faith is called the eternal elixir that gives life and power to thought. In practical terms, faith eliminates hesitation. Hesitation kills momentum. Momentum builds compounding advantage. Faith removes internal friction, and reduced internal friction accelerates execution. This is measurable, this is observable, and that is the proof. So when Maria tells you to read your statements loud repeatedly, she's not asking you to chant empty words. She's asking you to intentionally condition your dominant mental state, because your dominant mental state will eventually express itself in your finances, your relationships, your leadership, and your results. Faith is not magic. It is mental governance. And the person who governs their mind governs their future. Now, I want you now to pay attention to what Marie-Pierre is going to give you, because for sure she is going to help you examine where your mind may have been working against you and how to reverse that pattern starting today. Over to you, Marie-Pierre.
Thank you, Melanie. So, yes, it's time to do the quiz this morning, because now we understand those thoughts that it's really important to realize that what you say to yourself repeatedly will become your reality. It's not what you post on social media, it's not what you declare publicly, but it's what you whisper internally. So, the quiz is really about your real thought. No? So, the ones that you have when you are in your car, in the shower, after a mistake, before sending an email, when you are looking at your bank account, when you are stepping on a scale, or when someone says no. So be honest with yourself and choose the answer that sounds most like the real internal voice that you have every day. So let's start the quiz this morning. You can answer A, B, C, or D for each question. So question number 1. So you make a mistake in a meeting. What is your immediate thought? A, I'm so stupid. B, why do I always mess up? C, that wasn't great. Or D, okay, fix it and move forward. Question number 2. You look at your bank account and it's lower than expected. So what do you think? A, I'll never get ahead. B, money just slipped through my fingers. C, this is stressful. Or D, this is temporary, adjust and rebuild. Question number 3. You start something new and it feels hard. So what do you tell yourself? A, I'm not cut out for this. B, maybe this isn't for me. C, this is uncomfortable. Or D, every beginner feels like this. Question number 4. You set a big goal at the beginning of the week. What do you think later during the week? So A, who am I kidding? B, this is unrealistic. C, it might take forever. Or D, it's big, but I'm building. And question number 5. When you try to wake up early and you fail, what do you say to yourself? A, I have no discipline. B, I always fail at routine. C, this is hard. Or D, try again tomorrow. So did you get mostly A's, mostly B's, mostly C's, or mostly D's? So if you have mostly A, you are rehearsing that self-sabotage. So your repetition is harsh, your emotion is negative, so your subconscious is being trained to expect failure. So this is not your personality, this is programming. So faith cannot grow in that environment of self-attack. So we'll go into a few steps to help you develop that faith. Number. If you have mostly B, you are feeding doubt. So you are not aggressively negative, but your tone is fragile. So doubt is subtle. It doesn't scream, but it whisper, and that whisper repeated becomes your belief. Now, if you have mostly C, you are in the neutral but uncommitted. So you are aware, but awareness without emotional reinforcement will stay weak. So faith requires energy, conviction, repetition. So you are close, but not deliberate enough. Now, if you have mostly D, you are actively building faith. So your internal dialogue is disciplined. You correct yourself, you reframe, you recommit. So you are doing exactly what the book teaches, that training your mind on purpose. So protect that habit. So 5 step to stop that sabotaging, I don't know. So to sabotage yourself in your mind. Number one, catch that first sentence. So the first thought after a mistake will reveal your condition. So make sure that you catch that first sentence so you can replace. So number two is to replace immediately. So do not let that negative statement finish unchecked. Number three, remove the identity attack. So never say I'm stupid. Say that was a mistake. So never remove all those identity attacks. Number four, lower the emotional drama, because I emotion amplify your thoughts. So choose wisely where you put your emotion. So lower that emotional drama. And number five, guard your mental environment. So your mind will obey what it hears most often. So make sure that your environment is positive. Make sure that your environment is people that will encourage you and not bring you down. So that faith is not about pretending that everything is fine, but it's about refusing to let your own voice become your biggest enemy. So on that, I wish you a beautiful day. We'll continue on that tomorrow morning. So let's see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.